The only tools you need are a digging iron and a post hole digger. You can find these at flea markets, estate sales, or you can buy them brand new at the hardware store. The digging iron, this one's a beast. It weighs probably a good 35 pounds. It's among the heavier end, and it's been good. It has sharp end and then a flat end. For your post hole digger, I highly recommend that you mark the depths. Otherwise, you're going to need 3 tools, the third tool being the tape measure, and that's just going to take a lot of time every time you're digging to just keep measuring down in the hole with the tape. This saves you from having to do that. You just measure from the tip up to whatever depth you want. This goes up to 30 inches here, depending on what area you're in and the frost line, whether you're putting fence post holes, a pole building, and you really want to dig deeper. This will just save you a lot of time. So the first and most obvious is you want to decide, where am I going to dig the fence post hole? It's a bit of a twofold process, because in order to determine the location, you need to make sure that it's going to be in line with the other fence posts. So I already have my corner posts here, and I'm wanting to go in that direction. I would just need to make sure that's in a straight line, because if not, if it's canted to one side or another, when you have your fence tightened and it's off to this side, you're going to have that tension pulling, and it's going to be pulling one way or another depending on how offline you have it. So make sure everything's lined up in a straight line. So I'm lining up in a straight line, the 2 fence post holes there, and I got it at the distance that I want. So it's lined up. I'm going to go ahead. I just kick the grass a little bit with my foot. You can put paint, whatever. I just scuff the ground with my foot. There's my mark. And now we start digging. I usually make the holes about 9 inches or so in diameter. I like to use locust posts. The width of those usually varies depending on whether I saw them on my mill or just use the straight, regular log shape. If you buy yours, use a pressure treated, you'll have the same diameter each time. So I just start digging. I just kind of move around in a circle. Soil here is very rocky, and I got a big oak tree there and some other trees here. So I'm probably going to hit a couple of roots. So I just dig till I get a few inches. Just kind of keep moving in a circle. Try to keep it even. Just try to remember to breathe. Till I get a couple inches of soil loose. And then grab the post hole digger and start digging. I want to keep digging till I get it cleaned out. Depending on the type of soil you have, you can probably dig. If you got sandy soil, you could probably dig a lot of it just with a post hole digger. My soil is very rocky, and you need the digging iron to dig it out. Digging post holes by hand is a bit of a workout, and so you try to save energy where you can. Some people, if they live in a sandy environment, you could probably ram the digging iron down in and it'll stay up, especially if it's one of the lighter ones. This one being a beast, I really got to ram it down in hard to get it to stay up. And then I just end up kind of tearing the ground all around it. So maybe when I'm older, I'll change my mind, but right now I'm fine. Each time I just set it down. If you're in the woods, you can lean it up against a tree, or if you have your truck, four-wheeler, or whatever, you can just lean it up against. I just leave my tools down. I don't mind bending down and getting it. It's really nice if you have another person here to help you, because then you can get a system going where the one person uses the digging iron and the other person uses a post hole digger. And it allows you to kind of get a break in between. Plus it's more efficient, faster. One of the things you got to watch though, if you do that, is this old digging iron here. Because the deeper you get, depending on how tough the soil is, you got to push it like that. You want to watch you don't smack yourself in the face, but also too, if your buddy's there with you and they're not paying attention and you're not paying attention, you're pushing one of those, that could hurt. So that's just something you want to be aware of if there's a couple of you here working. When I'm digging and I happen to hit a rock, you really want to work that back and forth. Surprisingly, I haven't hit any rocks in here yet. It's still mostly decent topsoil. That's surprising because my soil is very rocky. I'm hitting a lot of slate. No big rocks yet. The thing with the sharp end on the digging iron, there's a number of different gadgets and tools out on the market there to dig through roots and what have you. You don't need any of that. Digging iron, this sharp point here, this will dig through roots. You can just ram them down straight. It'll cut through roots. I've cut through tons of roots. It works fine. You hit rocks, you just hit this, and you work it through. I haven't hit it here yet, but you just hit this and you kind of work around it. Sometimes if it's a bigger rock, you may have to dig your hole wider in that spot. You know, it's not a big deal. You just kind of hit there and work around, reach down, pick up the rock, and it's no big deal. So as I'm digging, just check every now and then. All right. Yeah, not even 18 inches yet, and it is getting rocky. Definitely hard packed shale here. This definitely gives you an appreciation for what the old timers went through building their farms. And I know when electricity first came to my area here, my great grandfather was one of the ones that helped dig the telephone poles, and they had to do it all by hand. And that just, man, gives you an appreciation for sure. When I get to the dirt that's really rocky and hard packed, you really want to give it a push because it's barely digging in. You want to give that push, break free that hard pack. It's really hard packed here. I'm digging along the edge of the wall there to keep it from rounding in. And this is where, like I said earlier, don't smack yourself in the face doing this. Yes, sometimes you gotta just really dig, and that's why I like, you know, I like having the really heavy digging iron. It helps with the hard packed stuff. Getting close to the end depth. There we go. And that's all there is to it. A couple of tools, very little planning, and then just the sweat of your brow. It's a bit of a workout, especially if you have rocky soil or clay soil. Clay soil, it'll stick to the post hole digger, and you got to kind of hit that off. And rocky soil, I mean, you're really using the digging iron, but it's a very simple process. And now I have a tractor with an auger. Most of the holes I dig are with the tractor. However, there are times in Appalachia, that's how we say it north of the Mason-Dixon here. A ridge over there, we were putting in some corner posts and it was like this, and you just couldn't get the tractor in there with the auger, so dug those by hand.